Assalamualaikum everyone, Huzafa here from BITFX and welcome to another weekly outlook. In this weekly outlook, we'll be covering Eurusd, Gbpusd, Nzdusd and Usdcad. So starting off with Eurusd on the weekly time frame, as we can see, we have been externally bearish from the past, let's say, year we could say. So we're externally in a bearish trend as we had seen in the previous weekly outlooks, and Eurusd actually respected the previous week's outlook, where we had in possibly marked out this area of supply. So this area of supply was marked out for you guys, and we were expecting shorts from here for Eurusd, which exactly how Eurusd played out. Eurusd went into the cells, tapped into this area, then came down into the cells, right? So Eurusd actually played out perfectly, and we are still bearish on this weekly time frame on Eurusd. Going on to the daily time frame, we can see that externally, even in the daily time frame, we were bearish. We are actually bearish on the daily time frame. Some of you guys may ask that we were bearish and then we had this break of structure right here on the daily time frame, and why are you not considering this as a break of structure? Well, this structure for me is not very significant. This structural area on the daily time frame for me is not very significant. Possibly yes, on the lower time frames it could have been significant. On daily, external structure wise, it's not strong enough to shift the trend completely. Alright, so for me externally, I'm still bearish on the daily time frame on Eurusd. So on weekly I'm bearish externally, on daily I'm bearish externally. Now what POIs do I expect? I expect Eurusd to potentially bounce off this area, as I know, like, this area of demand is not very strong. So this area of demand is not very strong, as we know the external structure or the external trend is bearish on Eurusd. So expecting buys from here is a little bit risky, but obviously we will be waiting for our 5-minute term from confirmations, and possibly we could see some pullback from this area of, let's say, not very strong demand. Okay, so I could potentially see a reaction from here. So if I see my 5-minute rules get followed, so I could potentially get long from here, and I'll target this imbalance or this area of supply marked. Okay, otherwise if I don't get any confirmations right here, if I don't get a trade in this zone, potentially what market is going to do is it's going to continue down, make another lower low, come back up, possibly into either this area of supply or that area of supply, and it will give us a 5-minute confirmation trade. So once that happens, we can take ourselves from these zones. Okay, so this is one of the plans, and same thing for the other one. All right, so yeah, so either the market breaks below it or either the market reacts off here. These are the possibilities, and it can be either one of these POIs for the cells, so any of the supply zones. Same thing actually on the 4-hour time frame. Nothing much to see. We will potentially, even on the 4 hours, we are externally bearish. So yeah, let's move on to Gbpusd. Alright, so Gbpusd, actually I'm gonna start off on the monthly time frame this time. Okay, so not on the weekly, on the monthly, because right now we are at a very strong key level on the monthly time frame on Gbpusd. So as we can see, the previous structures we were you can see clearly externally bearish on Gbpusd, and this was the most recent external lower high right here. Market went above, had a break of structure, broke this. Now it's coming back, retesting this area of demand, which is possibly a strong area of demand. Now there are some reasons where this area would not give off a reaction, or it would not hold. One of the reasons being is market reacted off from where? Market reacted off from this order block right here. That means it tagged in strong sellers, strong institutional sellers right here. Okay, so there is selling pressure from the top right here, which could make Gbpusd just continue all the way down and not respect this area. But then again, Keeping in mind it's a monthly time frame, strong area of demand, we should be able to see some sort of reaction. As we saw, the previous monthly candle tapped into this zone and saw a nice little pullback. Now we have 10 days in closing of this candle. Still we haven't broken the low of this previous monthly candle. Okay, so this is right here will mark out the low of the previous monthly candle, which is really important for us. And in these 10 days we could potentially see a reversal back up. There is a possibility. I'm not saying it's a 100% guaranteed, but it's a possibility that this candle has been respected, market does not break below it, the wick is filled, and then market in the previous 10 days it closes bullish. There is a possibility, or else it would continue lower, and then potentially even here in the coming months it would give us some buys. But this area, please mark it in your charts. It's a strong area and we have a nice possibility for us to see some longs from this area. It might not be today, might not be tomorrow, might not be this week, but as long as we're in this area we should see some reaction from this. We already have seen, following our previous weeks and all the previous weekly outlooks, it has been all gone positive. So yeah, now coming on to the lower time frame, let's say on the weekly time frame, we have seen that okay, externally we are continuing bearish. On the external time frame, weekly bearish, market went back up following our previous week's outlooks, previous 2 weeks outlook, and it's continuing bearish from this area of supply which we had marked in the previous outlooks. So market is potentially continuing down. Now monthly low is like a very strong magnet, it's a very strong liquidity area, so we have a possibility of market breaking this as well, and then maybe potentially changing its trend from beneath it and then continuing up. So we're just going to look at the lower time frame structures. So on weekly we are bearish, on daily time frame we are bearish, and I will still consider this area of demand right here. So I'm still considering this area of demand even though we know we're on weekly time frame we are bearish, just in case the previous month's low is not supposed to be broken. This can be a good area for us to look for buys. Okay, so right now we won't be possibly looking for sells from here, right? We need some sort of a pullback. Even if market goes down, we're not going to be looking for sells at a discounted price right now. What we'll be looking is for buys. Okay, right now what we'll be looking at for buys on GBPUSD, either from this area, maybe if the low is broken, then as soon as the low is broken, potentially some buys. These buys we can be catching up till where? Up till this. If this area is being respected, then potentially there is a potential to for the market to break even these highs, but let's be conservative with our targets. First area of supply for me is this right here. Second area of supply, actually I'm just going to extend this area of supply, so this area I'm going to extend it till here. Alright, so this is my area of supply which I'll be looking to sell in. So these are the areas I'll be looking to sell in. This is the area which I'll be looking to buy it, and anything below this line, as soon as market crosses, I'll be looking to buy in. So I'll be waiting for the 5-minute time frame confirmations. Going on to the 4-hour time frame, we see the same thing again, buys from here, sells from here. Right, so let's move on to the Nzdusd. Alright, so moving on to Nzdusd, as we can see, it has perfectly followed our previous weekly outlooks plan, and it has played out perfectly following through the plan, and we have seen market go back up into the supply zone and then drop from here. So congratulations all of you who took the trade, or maybe you got into the sells or the buys from this area. To all of you, congratulations. Now moving on for the next week, what we are seeing is obviously external bearish trend, same thing as EU, GU, NU. Most of the times they all follow a similar pattern. Alright, again external bearish on the weekly time frame, but I still see some internal structures right here which weekly time frame can reject off. But then again, it's a weekly engulfing, on the weekly time frame, a very strong indication of a bearish trend. right here. Okay, just following the retail concepts, simple technicals. It's a very strong bearish environment for the market right now for NZD/USD. Okay, reacting off the supply, all this liquidity was taken out. For me personally, right now, all my POIs are gonna be this area right here, which is a lower time frame POI. So you guys can just copy it. It's a 4-hour time frame POI right here. This is my POI number 1. I'll be looking for some reversals right here as the Monday opens, potentially see the previous week's low get broken and then see a small pullback from above here. Another one of the areas similar to GU and EU is gonna be obviously this low. Alright, and I believe it's the low of the previous month's candle, right? So this is the low of the previous month's candle. So this is gonna be target number 2nd, right? So the first area is gonna be this one for the buys. Second one, this area, the weekly, the monthly low. Externally, we are bearish on NZD/USD. We saw this break of structure right here on the daily time frame. Internal highs, break in the internal structures, internal trend shift back to bearish, and I will be looking for sells right here. Okay, so all these zones, I'm marking there for your let's say concepts. It's this is not gonna be your entry and this is not gonna be your stop loss. No, once market reaches to these points, you're gonna start monitoring the market and be waiting for the lower time frame confirmations, right? So don't be like, don't have your entry right here, stop loss right here, and waiting with 168 pips stop loss entering the trade. No, that's completely wrong, right? So you need the lower time frame confirmations on these. Same for this. I will never be entering preset orders on my weekly outlooks. Anything I teach is purely on the lower time frame confirmation. It has to be executed on the lower time frame confirmation. In my private mentorship, yes, I teach there the concepts of inducements, the other type of strategies where you can have instant executions without waiting for lower time frame confirmation. But anything I'm analyzing right now on this weekly time frame is supposed to be executed as a lower time frame confirmation, right? So just keep in mind, don't place your orders right here and wait for the buys. No, right? So POI number 1, POI number 2, POI number 1 for sells. I believe that's all for NZD/USD now. There's nothing much to see, and let's go to Usdcad. Alright, so coming on to Usdcad, we can say that externally we have been going bullish. Now internal structures were broken on the weekly time frame to the downside, and we were expecting small reactions. The market broke this, went back up, reacted from here, but it was not a deep enough retracement. There is a potential that market is going to go deeper and react from here possibly. So this is going to be our first POI. There is also a possibility market can just go break off this, come react from here, continue bullish, right? POI number 1, this right here. Okay, daily time frame, internal structures have been shifted back to bullish, right? So again, this POI remains as is. If the market decides to come back, here are the buying orders where I'll be looking for buys right here. This is gonna be my buying area from this as the internal trend has shifted on the Usdcad. So these two are my POIs. If market decides to react off here and continue all the way down, this is the external low on Usdcad right here, right? So these are gonna be the POI. So POI number 1 for buys, POI number 2 for buys, POI number 1 for sells. These are the possibilities, or these are all the point of interests for Usdcad for the coming weeks. Okay, so the weekly outlook is supposed to be for the coming weeks. As you guys noticed, I didn't have a weekly outlook up last week. It's because the prior week's outlook was already being followed by the previous week. So I didn't have to re-upload it and re-explain the same trades over and over again. Same POIs were being followed, same areas of interest were being tapped and being followed. So unless there's a change in the market conditions where it needs to be updated, I'll be uploading a weekly outlook. Alright guys, so make sure whenever I do upload the weekly outlook, you guys copy at least copy all of my point of interests onto your charts. So whenever the market reaches to the points, you know that okay, I have marked that area, I should be looking for sells now. I've marked that area, I should be looking for buys now. So according to whatever your strategy is, I don't care whatever you trade, RSI, divergence, smart money concepts, whatever you trade, whatever your strategy is, you wait for the market to come to that POI, you start looking for those confirmations according to your strategy. For us, obviously, for our BITFX rule, we have it very simple. Yeah, we have preset rules which we follow and we get into the trade. Right, so I guess this is all for this week. We have covered your USD, GBPUSD, Nzdusd, and Usdcad. Alright guys, make sure to like, subscribe and comment down below your thoughts, and make sure to have a profitable week, trade safe, stay risk managed, and be sure to check out our Instagram, our website if you're looking for mentorship programs. Our results, our reviews of the students, all are there on our website. Our mentorship is also available right now, as well as I'll see you guys next week. Till then, peace.
We can solve. Everyone looking and they all love getting involved. You got my full attention, I won't get a nut at all. But girl, you know I'm working, I can't answer all your calls. I don't want nothing for niggas, they been in my business. I just want something for you cause you been on my wish list. I hope you get this. You like to talk so much, just listen. I know you don't want much. You been through a lot and now you don't want love. Hella broke up promises and now you don't trust. I know he really broke your heart when you broke up. That's why you put your feelings in a solo cup. Cause you broken, but you rollin' like the party on the weekend, keep it going. You in the dark, girl, but you glowing. You just need a little drink, you can start pouring.